Amigo Cule, today the day starts packed with news, and we'll begin with the good news. FC Barcelona has settled its debt with Lionel Messi, Philippe Coutinho, Samuel Umtiti, and others. It's a real masterstroke for the club, which can now breathe easily to recruit and return to the spotlight. Meanwhile, Hansi Flick has asked Deco for 2 more additions, a fullback and a forward, in addition to Nico Williams. The names are already on the table, and I will tell you all about it in detail. Speaking of Nico Williams, the arrival of the forward, which seemed certain, has a new chapter in this saga. Nico and his representative have made demands, and Barcelona has taken a step back. There are things that only happen at Barcelona. Find out about this whole saga right now. But that's not all. Barcelona has given up on recruiting a 17-year-old Brazilian youngster. Understand what happened. And finally, there is the saga of Frenkie de Jong. Will he renew or not? And Ter Stegen, is he leaving or staying? Several clubs are interested. Find out which ones. Today, there is much more controversy and news. Don't go away, because today is a real madness. Amigo Cule, hot-blooded fan, pay attention, because what I'm going to tell you now is one of those novel chapters, but with a happy and Blaugrana ending, of course. Do you remember that dark phase where our Barcelona looked more like a patient in the financial intensive care unit of European football? Well, that story now belongs to the past. And this is not a social media rumor, nor is it hot news from sport. Directly from Barcelona, the club has settled its debts with none other than Lionel Messi, Coutinho, Umtiti, Koeman, and the entire generation of 2020. Yes, brother Cule, that team which experienced both glory and chaos can now cross Barcelona off the list of bad payers. The last pending payment will be made this Monday, June 30th. Do you know what this means? That our president's promise to reorganize the club was not just empty words. The reconstruction is underway, and with responsibility. And for those who thought Barcelona was going to turn into a SAF, here is the clear answer. With the accounts in order, the club is back on the market with a hunger for football. And there are important names in the sights. Nico Williams, the athletic winger who is playing at an incredible level and could be the reinforcement that makes the difference for Hansi Flick. The negotiation is heating up, with twists and behind-the-scenes moves, but the management is optimistic. And when Barcelona wants something, all of European football trembles. But wait, there's more. Camp Nou is back. Mark this date, August 10th. It's the day when our home, our sacred temple, reopens its doors after the renovation. And with that comes the ticket sales, merchandising, and the soul of the supporter. There will be an explosion in the stands, jerseys sold all over the world, and Barcelona once again on the stage where it has always belonged. If anyone, especially the rivals from Madrid, still doubted our recovery, congratulations, they have missed the opportunity to stay quiet. Because in addition to having settled the debts with legends like Messi and Koeman, Barcelona is now accelerating towards a new era. And the most impressive thing in all of this, the club that, in 2020, could barely pay the salaries, is now clean with its stars, with Camp Nou ready to explode again, and with money in the bank to go for signings worth 50 million. It's the rebirth of Barcelona, Amigo Cule. Cule supporter, get ready, because Barcelona is starting to regain its pace as a serious club, and Hansi Flick's revolution is already underway. Yes, it's true that the name of the moment is Nico Williams, and Joan Laporta is doing everything possible behind the scenes to close the deal with the athletic winger. But wait, the German coach wants more. It's not just Nico, nor just the goalkeeper Joan Garcia, who is already almost confirmed according to Sport. Flick has been direct with Deco and sent him the message, I want another forward and a top-level fullback. And this makes complete sense. In attack, they can't put the entire season on the shoulders of YAMAL, who is still young, and Rafinha, who doesn't yet have foolproof consistency. In defense, Cancelo is on the verge of exhaustion. He needs a replacement who can keep up the pace and maintain the level. That's why the management already has 2 names in mind that are making the corridors of Camp Nou tremble. Pay attention to the attack. Marcus Rashford. Yes, the Englishman from Manchester United could arrive in Catalonia. The English club wants to negotiate, and sources close to Barcelona are already talking about the arrival of the Red Devils number 10 as a matter of time. For the full-back position, João Cancelo. The Portuguese already has the green light from everyone, and moreover, he wants to return. Deco is a fan of his style, and the desire to wear the Blaugrana jersey again could be the final push to close the deal. Meanwhile, the squad is beginning to renew itself, and some names will gradually disappear. The first on the list is a familiar face to the supporters, Ansu Fati. Laporta has already admitted that the number 10 will sign with Monaco. The youth academy gem has not managed to establish himself and is now looking for a new start in France. But don't worry, amigo Cule, although a homegrown idol is leaving, Hansi Flick's Barcelona promises to be fast, bold, and hungry for the ball. And with Nico, Rashford, and Cancelo in the game, who doubts that Barcelona won't put fear back into Europe? According to the source Fernando Polo from the newspaper Sport, the saga between Barcelona and Nico Williams, which seemed close to a happy ending, has turned into a new drama behind the scenes of Camp Nou. The agreement, which was practically concluded, has been slowed down by the demands of the player and, above all, his representative. And now, everything is on pause. Nico's agent wants solid guarantees that Barcelona will be able to register the player without any issues, something that, unfortunately, the club cannot ensure at the moment. The reason? The specter of the league's financial fair play continues to haunt the management. To make matters worse, the case of Dani Olmo, who in 2024 was left out of important matches for not being registered on time, is used as an example to justify Nico's and his entourage's fear. According to the source, this insecurity is a direct reflection of the club's economic situation. Despite all efforts to get the finances in order, Barcelona still has a debt of €2.4 billion, while the projected revenues for 2025 amount to approximately €894 million. In other words, there is still a long way to go to say that the house is completely in order. And it is in this scenario that Bayern Munich enters the stage, attentive and with full coffers. The German giant is closely watching this blockage. Athletic Bilbao, Nico's home club, has already made it known that they would prefer to negotiate with the Germans, especially because there are no complications in registering players there, and the €58 million release clause does not scare the Bavarians at all. Now, the ball is in Barcelona's court. If they really want to count on Nico Williams, they will have to demonstrate that they can overcome bureaucracy, market pressure, and convince the player that the Blaugrana project is secure and ambitious. And you, amigo Cule, do you think Barcelona will manage to take this step forward, or will they see another star slip through their fingers? According to information revealed by the newspaper Sport, the renewal of Frenkie de Jong has become a key piece of the financial puzzle that Barcelona must urgently solve. And beyond securing the presence of the Dutchman, the real impact lies in opening up space to register Nico Williams, the big summer target for the Cules. Although the club and the player want to extend the link until 2029, many details still need to be adjusted. Frenkie receives the second highest salary in the squad, just behind Lewandowski, and according to what was agreed in his last contract, he was able to pocket up to €25.3 million gross last season. And here's the problem. Barcelona still has to settle the outstanding debt with him, generated during the deferrals due to the pandemic. The management's idea is clear: renew number 21 without losing sporting power, but restructuring payments intelligently to free up salary cap space and thus be able to register LAMINE Yamal, Jong Garcia, and Nico Williams himself. It's a game of chess where every euro counts. And yes, amigo Cule, you read that right, Barcelona cannot, for the moment, register Nico Williams. That's why the renewal of Frenkie is not just a priority, it's the key that unlocks the entire summer recruitment plan. The risk of another Dani Olmo case looms in the air, and the club wants to avoid another administrative embarrassment. Meanwhile, Laporta is racing against the clock to also adjust other departures that will lighten the wage bill. The sale of Ansu Fati to Monaco was the first step, but there are still names on the list: Christensen, Pablo Torre, Inaki Peña, Hector Fort. All are in the sights to bring in money and pave the way for the new Barcelona of Hansi Flick. The club also hopes to strengthen the squad with another left-back and a forward, but all this depends on resolving the financial tangle that still looms over Camp Nou, including payments for the famous levers and revenues from the VIP seats of the new stadium. In other words, amigo Cule, Barcelona's transfer market hasn't even really started. Everything hinges first on Frenkie de Jong. And here's the million-dollar question. Will Barcelona manage to renew Frenkie in time and open the doors to Nico Williams, or do they risk losing another star because of financial fair play? According to the latest information published by media close to FC Barcelona, a new possibility is opening up for the Catalan club in the midst of the chaotic financial puzzle it is trying to solve. Manchester United has shown interest in Marc-Andre Ter Stegen as a possible solution to replace Andre Onana, which could become an unexpected way for Barcelona to lighten its wage bill. The German goalkeeper, who no longer has the trust of the technical staff for the 2025-26 season, finds himself behind Jong, Garcia and Szczesny in Hansi Flick's list of priorities. And although he is still one of the captains of the locker room, his salary of €14 million gross per year is a problem that the Barcelona management wants to solve as soon as possible. From England, United is not going through its best moment, eliminated from all European competitions and plunged into a total reconstruction under the orders of Ruben Amorim. However, the Old Trafford club would be ready to offer the German goalkeeper absolute starter status and a new sports project, something that Barcelona cannot guarantee today. However, the operation would not be easy. United must first resolve the departure of Onana, who arrived for €50 million, but whose market value today is around €25 to €30 million after a season marked by errors and concerning statistics. 65 goals conceded in 50 matches, with only 11 matches without conceding a goal. The English club has even received inquiries from Saudi Arabia, but the Cameroonian goalkeeper is not willing to move to Gulf football. Meanwhile, Barcelona is studying three possibilities: negotiating a direct sale of Ter Stegen for around €10 million, accepting a loan with an option to buy, or even terminating the player's contract with compensation for the 3 remaining seasons, an extreme option but one that is on the table for the Catalan club. Any alternative that frees up wage bill and allows the registration of reinforcements like Nico Williams is welcome. The lingering question is, will Ter Stegen accept leaving Barcelona to be a starter in United in crisis, or will he prefer to hold out until the end at Camp Nou, even if he loses playing time on the field? According to the newspaper Sport, FC Barcelona has already ruled out the recruitment of young Brazilian Salucas, one of the most followed promises of South American football in this transfer market. The midfielder, only 17 years old and an undisputed starter at Sport Recife, seemed to be Barcelona's new discreet reinforcement, but the operation has been stopped, not for lack of talent, but for strictly sporting reasons. Salucas is a pivot with good game vision, good game reading, and versatility that allows him to play as a left interior midfielder as well. Everything indicated that he would be a long-term bet, probably first reinforcing Barcelona Athletic. However, the reality within the club is very different from the illusion of the recruiters. Today, Barcelona already has too many defensive midfielders. Frenkie de Jong remains untouchable in this sector. Casado had a solid season, and Verna, one of the gems of the youth academy, is about to return after a serious injury. Even Eric Garcia, who has returned from loan, can be used as a midfielder in specific situations. In other words, there is no room for another name in this position. And if that were not enough, the relegation of Barcelona Athletic to the Segunda Federación, the 4th division of Spanish football, extinguishes any possibility of significant international signings for the reserve team. Paying between €12 and €15 million for a young player who will have no place either in the first team or in Barcelona B makes no sense in the current plan. But this does not mean that Salucas will remain without a European future. From Brazil, it is reported that Betis and Sevilla have already started moving for the player. Both Andalusian clubs have a tradition of recruiting Brazilian talents, and Sport Recife continues to believe that the future of its gem lies in La Liga in 2025, when he reaches the age of majority. Now, with so many midfielders at home and a reserve team out of the elite radar, the big question that remains is Barcelona doing the right thing by letting another Brazilian gem slip away, or will they regret it when Salucas shines with another jersey in Spain? According to reactions on social media and sports portals in Spain and Brazil, the name of Vitor Roque is once again at the center of attention, but not for reasons that excite the Cule supporters. The forward, who was Barcelona's big bet and now defends the colors of Palmeiras, is heavily criticized for his performances in the Club World Cup, especially after the match against Botafogo. With a price of 154 million reais that Palmeiras paid to take him from Barcelona, Vitor arrived in Brazilian football with a mission to find his best form after a dull period at Camp Nou. But what has been seen so far is a timid performance and a lot of boos against the once glorious player. The forward missed simple chances, tried to force a penalty in a clumsy manner, and became the laughingstock of social media. And it's not just the Palmeiras supporters who have lost patience. Barcelona supporters themselves have joined in the criticism. In a tone of relief or venting, many Cules have called the sale to Palmeiras a financial relief. One of them even said, "Thankfully, Barcelona was able to sell Vitor Roque, what a waste of money." Another, more acerbic, let out, "Barcelona paid 70 million for Vitor Roque, and he is worse than COVID." It should be remembered that neither Xavi nor Hansi Flick wanted to count on the young player in Barcelona's first team, which reinforces the feeling that the Catalan club got rid of a problem in time. With only 3 goals in 23 matches and no assists, the performances of the ex-Atletico Paranense are concerning. The pressure on the forward is growing, and he must show that he still has fuel to burn, whether to justify himself at Palmeiras or to try to return to Europe one day with a different mindset. Now, the big question that remains is, does Vitor Roque have a future as an elite player, or was Barcelona right to get rid of him as soon as possible?